Well, hello there. Good times with Scar here. Whoa. Whoa, what is that? What's that coming down the hallway? What are those tentacles? Davy Jones?
Whether ye be brave or fool enough to seek a cursed pirate's treasure, proceed.
Oh, there he is, Wally, with the impression of the century. With Davy
Just
Jones.
goofing, just goofing. You guys know you've been to Disneyland, Pirates of the Caribbean. After a couple of drops, you see a little water projection. Just playing. You know, but the reason I'm putting it on here is I'm trying to get it archived because they're about to change it. So I just want to make sure everybody knows what you said right there.
Yes, and it is. Whenever the weather is starting to turn fine, there's one thing I think of, Wally.
What's that? What do you got?
It's Disneyland.
When the weather is fine, when the weather is fine, you got Disneyland on your mind.
It is. Every time it gets sunny out and the weather starts to warm up, all I think about is going to Disneyland.
Get into the parks. Get into the parks. You know, the nice thing about Disneyland is it could be, hotter than Hades outside. But once you get into those lines, the majority of the lines are nice and air conditioned, and I think they call them queues. But you know what you get the point.
Oh yeah, yes. It's whenever summer comes, that's what I think about. Time to go to Disneyland.
They're doing the fireworks every night. Everything's lined up. They try and have all the rides running. There's no big refurbs going on in the summer. It's the best time to go. Best time.
Best time, of course. I have gone in the rain. It's an interesting experience. I wouldn't always recommend it as the best.
Experience to be had. I agree. I ended up having to buy a poncho for like $7. I mean, this is a plastic bag, folks. It's a garbage can It's a garbage bag. Garbage can would have been the same thing. But yeah, it's not too bad. The parks just clear out, especially if it's at night. But you get water in your shoes and you got to walk a long ways, and nobody wants blisters.
Yes, but it is summertime, and so this year is pretty exciting. 2 new rides. Well, Star Tours is an old ride that's been reimagined.
Now answer this, Scar, being the Disneyland expert you are. Everybody's crazy about Star Tours. I'm seeing it at Chevron. There's billboards all over the place. And the thing is like you're saying, it's just a ride that had a little, it had a facelift, a big facelift at that, not just a little thing.
$60 to $70 million facelift.
That's more than Joan Rivers and what is that other guy, Brian Peppers, that weirdo looking guy. Anyway, but the other thing is that's an older ride. It's been bumped up. But what about a brand new ride? Why isn't it getting the same press as Star Tours? Is it just because it's in everybody? Everybody knows Star Tours, or what?
It must be because The Little Mermaid is opened in California Adventure, right across the way from Disneyland. And yeah, it's not getting the press that Star Tours is getting. I guess because with the Star Tours name and being in Disneyland Park, and that one's over in California Adventure, which is kind of like the sad stepchild of Disneyland. But they're fixing it up. 1.1 billion's been spent on that park to reimagine it.
They're doing the time. They're reimagining. They're reimagining some things over there. And that's that's the other thing is, don't forget, if you're a new guy, you're new guy, you've never been to Disneyland, you show up and you're making all sorts of mistakes, of course. Don't just go into Disneyland. And absolutely do not just go into Disneyland, California. If you don't get a park hopper, you're making a huge mistake. Check them both out.
Yeah.
Both.
Very true. Yes, we should do a whole commentary on how to properly experience Disneyland.
I agree. That's coming up. That will come up. Well, we're going to do step by step because there's you just see the mistakes. And the other thing is, don't be that guy at the park when somebody doesn't know anything comes to you who also doesn't know anything, and they say, hey, why is this ride like this, or why is that doing that? And sometimes there's just things at Disneyland that don't make sense, and you try and think of it in like a logical way and tell that person back, you're probably wrong. So just don't give any info. Just say, I don't know, I'm loving it.
You're loving it.
Just do your whole little, whatever you have to do. Don't give misinformation about the park. It drives me nuts.
Yes, agreed. Yeah, so The Little Mermaid and Star Tours 2 have opened up at the resort. Great stuff. I'm looking forward to it.
What about some small stuff? Is there little things for people to look for? Are they planting some new plants? Are there green beans growing for everybody to pick? Or what's new?
Yeah, Tomorrowland's always got the edible food options.
Let me tell you guys about something here real quick before Scar continues on. If you don't have a lot of dollars, and let's face it, Disneyland can be very expensive, especially for a large family. Here's my solution to you. All right, Safeway or any grocery store that has that little marketplace where they have the salads and whatnot, well, they have dressing there, like ranch, Italian, whatever it be. They have that stuff there for you for free. It's in these little packets. All you got to do is ask. Get a bunch of those packets, all right? Get some of those big Ziploc bags and get a couple of plastic forks. All free of charge, except maybe you got to buy some Ziplocs. Bring those into the park in your backpack. Cruise around Tomorrowland. There's peppers, lots of these different like red, green, orange. There's peppers everywhere, beans, everything. Find everything edible. Get it all off the plants. Put it in the bag. Squirt all that dressing in there. Shake that thing up. If you want to add croutons, you add every crouton. Crouton, everything in there. Shake it up. Boom. Salad. You're good to go. There's not a lot of trans fats, and you'll enjoy it.
Yes, that.
I don't condone that. I don't, in case there's trouble, but it's just an idea.
It is an idea because Tomorrowland is all planted with edible foods.
That's true, and in these economic times, it's just an option for you, for your family. You want to go to Disneyland, but you don't want to spend the big bucks on having dinner with a mouse or something, or who knows what Goofy is. But yeah, just do that. Do the salad thing.
Yeah, okay, that sounds like good. I actually have a little story real quick. Also, we were going through the security checkpoints to go into the park. They search your bags and look in your pockets.
Somebody had an Indian picnic.
Well, there was a lady ahead of us with a stroller. And,
heavy set?
And she. A little, a rather large rear end.
Yeah. There it is. Posterior.
Yes. And so the security guy opens up the bag, and she had literally 2 loaves of bread, like a giant piece of ham,
oh, jeez.
and then like a block of cheese. Like Disneyland does not allow like an entire refrigerator worth of food to be brought into the park.
God, what is she bringing in the deli? I think probably the person behind her had the meat slicer.
She had the knife. She had like a 6-inch carving knife. And the person pulled it up by the handle, no, and then put up her hand to call on the rest of the security.
Oh, that's classic. Well, I guess if that didn't work out, she could have gone over into Fantasyland and tried to pull the sword in the stone. That I don't know if it's probably a dull tip, but it might cut through a little bit. I love Disneyland. I love the characters, and there are animals there, and there's all this kind of stuff. And there's just one thing that I really don't like about Disneyland, and it's those things, and you've seen these. They've got the heads. They have heads and little hands. Oh, kids.
Oh, yes, the little children.
Yeah, they're gone. Out of here. Out of here. You see adults kind of back off, when the kid wants to do something, and all right, yeah, let him run up there or whatever. But I can't do that. I'm here too. What gives them the right?
Oh God, yeah. What gives this kid the right to see Mickey Mouse?
Yeah, my ticket was more expensive than his.
It was.
Get out of here, quit playing games with us. Anyway, so that's my thing. But I'm stoked. I can't wait. I'll be out there Labor Day weekend.
Yep, and also Goofy's Flight School is another attraction opening at California Adventure. And then
what's the story on that? Was there a cartoon? Was there a cartoon that this is based off of, or is it just some kind of?
Goofy's Glider was a cartoon in the 30s or 40s.
Oh, those are the best ones.
Yes, and for the future, So for the future in California Adventure, 2012 summer, Cars Land, based on the Pixar movie Cars, is opening, and it's like a giant land, with a giant Radiator Springs racers. It's like you get in a little race car and you zoom around in the mountains, and then there's another ride opening, Luigi's Tires, and you're actually on floating tires. It's like bumper cars.
Now, what is supporting these off the ground? What do you There's a string you're hanging from a mobile kind of thing, or?
No, it's air currents. And it lists
like the old UFO ride that they used to have back in the 50s.
Yes, just like that, but better technology.
Better technology, probably a smoother ride, maybe a little bit higher up.
Yeah, a little higher. Actually, it holds 2 people.
Oh, a double seater. There you go. You bring your date there. You bring, if you're a larger person, probably just you, but you'll figure it out. You'll work it out.
Be perfect. You got the mountains. They're 100, and I think they're 135 feet tall, and it's going to be awesome. Summer, 2012.
Good time. I'm looking forward to Cars Land. Are there going to be elements from Cars 2, or is it they're specifically basing this off the characters from the first one?
They're adding hints in the rides, in some of the ride cues of Cars 2, but it'll be primarily based on Cars, the original.
Okay, I'm looking forward to the second one, but there's always different things. So.
Yeah. Well, Wally, I'm looking forward to going to Disneyland. I think you are too.
I am too. I'll see you Labor Day. My wife and I are actually doing a half marathon out there. We're going to do the pizza in the park with the characters and the pat on the backs and all that stuff. So
and the photos.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
All right, guys. This has been Good Times with Scar and Wally. We'll see you later.